Have you ever met someone who talks so much that you walk away feeling emotionally drained, mentally crowded, or like you never truly existed in the conversation? And yet, people who talk too much aren't always loud, confident, or attention-seeking. Psychology says many of them are carrying emotional habits that reveal far more than their words ever could. Today, we'll break down the real psychology behind people who talk too much. And by the end, you'll never look at an oversharer the same way again. 1. The anxiety loop. Talking is self-soothing. For some people, talking isn't communication, it's survival. Psychologists say that excessive talking is often rooted in anxiety-based reassurance seeking. When their mind feels restless, their words start racing. Every silence feels threatening. Every pause feels like a judgment. So they fill the gaps, and fill them, and fill them. It's not that they want the spotlight. It's that silence feels like emotional danger. Talking becomes their shield, a way to calm the internal noise by creating external noise. These are the people who talk to avoid thinking, talk to avoid feeling, talk to avoid confronting the heaviness inside. 2. The childhood echo. When no one ever listened. Some people talk too much because, growing up, they didn't get the chance to talk at all. Psychologists call this deprivation-driven expression. If your voice was ignored, dismissed, or punished as a child, you grow into an adult who tries to reclaim the space you lost. They talk excessively because, for the first time in their life, they can. Their words aren't loud, their wounds are. So instead of judging them, ask, what silence did their childhood force them to swallow? 3. The approval chase. Words as validation. Some people talk too much because they've learned that their worth comes from attention. This comes from what psychologists call externalized self-worth, the belief that I matter when others react to me. So they keep talking, hoping for a laugh, a nod, a spark of interest, a sign that they're seen. They're not trying to dominate the conversation. They're trying to confirm they exist in it. When someone's identity depends on engagement, silence feels like rejection, so they talk to avoid feeling invisible. 4. The control reflex. Talking to stay in power. Not all talkers are insecure. Some use words strategically. Research on dominance signaling shows that excessive talking can be a subtle form of control. The more space they take up, the less space others have to challenge them. These are the people who interrupt often, over-explain simple things, repeat points you already understood, and steer every discussion back to themselves. It's not about connection. It's about control. By talking non-stop, they avoid vulnerability. Because if someone else starts speaking, they might reveal something this person doesn't want to confront. 5. The loneliness factor. Words filling emotional gaps. Here's the most heartbreaking one. Some people talk too much because they're deeply lonely. Not the, I have no friends kind of lonely. The internal kind. Psychologists call this social hunger, and it happens when someone's emotional world is starving for connection. Even if they're surrounded by people, they don't feel understood. So when they finally get a chance to speak, everything pours out at once. They're not oversharing for attention. They're oversharing because no one has held space for them in a very long time. Talking becomes their only form of companionship. So, why does this matter? Because talking too much rarely comes from arrogance. It comes from fear, pain, longing, or unhealed emotional patterns. People who talk excessively are often anxious minds trying to calm themselves, ignored children in grown bodies, approval seekers trying to be seen, controllers trying to feel safe, lonely hearts searching for connection. And once you understand the psychology behind their behavior, you stop seeing them as too much and start seeing the story behind their volume. If you want deeper insight into why people think, act, and connect the way they do, hit subscribe. Because on this channel, we don't just talk about behavior, we decode the psychology behind it.